This is Misty Springer. Welcome to another episode of Aligned Heart. And today we're talking about power versus force, creating what you want through aligned energy. And aligned energy is what we are all about on this podcast, getting into recognizing and staying in that aligned energy. It's what I call your first voice. It's that powerful energy that pulls you forward. It's like a magnetic pull in the direction that you want versus the energy of force that feels like push. It feels like holding on by your fingernails. It feels like willpower, like I've just got to muster my way through this. And we've all created from that willpower push energy. It's how we were all taught how to create something. Just put your mind to it, work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get to work. And while there are some really powerful truths in that, there are other ways to create what we want. And I would imagine that you've had experiences with that without knowing what it was. Imagine or think back to a time when you were in creative energy, when it felt like the time just flew by, when you felt like things were just flowing to you, ideas, thoughts, creativity. It felt like you were connected to God. It felt like you were connected to the spirit. It felt like you were just in that creative flow. And it feels really good. It doesn't feel like you're trying to hold on by your fingernails and force something to happen. Now, contrast that with creating something from force. Maybe it was an exercise plan or a diet plan or a goal of any sort that you had, that the plan was, okay, I need to do this, I have to do this, and so I'm just going to work really hard until I get it. And the showing up and the working hard is really powerful, but sometimes that can feel like you are walking through mud. It can feel like you're forcing your way through it, and it can feel exhausting. It can feel overwhelming. It can lead to burnout. And oftentimes it feels like you have a goal that continues to show up on your goal list over and over and over again and never fully gets accomplished. It's those tired out resolutions that show up every single year. And so we're going to be talking about creating from a different kind of power. This is aligned energy. It's creating from a power that feels connected to something bigger than you. And how do you tap into that? How do you use that to your advantage to create what you want? So I'm going to highlight this with a story of a client that I recently met with, and she came to me because she wanted to grow. And when she decided to step into coaching with me, it was a difficult decision for her because there wasn't anything broken. There was nothing that she was trying to fix. Her marriage didn't need fixing. Her body didn't need fixing. There wasn't anything that was just blaringly obvious that she wanted to work on. Her business didn't need to expand. She was feeling a desire to grow, but nothing needed to be fixed. And so she had a lot of thoughts about that. She had a lot of feelings of like, should I be paying for this? Can I justify this? This feels frivolous. This feels like I don't even know what I'm creating. It feels like there's this idea out there that I feel like in my heart I want to grow, but there's nothing tangible that I can point to. I can just say, yeah, I want to grow. And is that okay? And so as we talked through that, it was the idea that it was easier to go into the doctor to get a broken arm fixed or to recover from an illness or to get a prescription for an illness than it was to go into the doctor just because she wanted to be more healthy. Right? In our culture, we have a really we have a fix it mentality versus a growth mentality. And so moving into valuing growth can feel hard. It can feel counterintuitive, and it's very common. And as we got clear on what she wanted and what felt compelling for her to grow, there was a knowing that that growth was good, that growth was in her benefit, and that she was going to the pull on her heart was stronger than all the doubts and the fears in her brain. That's aligned energy right there. She had to tap into a knowing that was greater than her logical mind. It was a knowing in her heart that this was right, even if logic couldn't get her there. That's aligned energy. That's when you're stepping into a power that is greater than you. It's something you can't explain. It's something that you can't logic your way into, but you know it. Your heart knows it. That's what I call your first voice. That first voice is saying, yes, let's do this. And then all the second voice comes in, right? Like, there's this, nothing is broken. This is frivolous. I should put this money towards something that I can fix. Is it okay to focus on my desires? Is it okay to just focus on something that I want just because I want it? All of those thoughts came up for her, and what she kept coming back to was this knowing in her heart, yes, this is right. And what she came to understand was that it felt like she had an understanding of a book concept or an idea, and that she was allowing that book to unfold one sentence at a time. And as she thought about it and we talked about it, she felt into it, she realized, like, oh yeah, J.K. Rowling probably didn't have every nuance of the story of Harry Potter figured out from the beginning. She allowed herself to be committed to the story, to give herself permission to be in the story and not know the outcome, and be pulled into the story and create from there. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about creating from an aligned place. That's aligned energy. And so we want to talk about the beliefs that we can hold, the beliefs that we can cultivate that allows you to show up for your desires unapologetically, and what that does for you. So, in order to show up in that powerful aligned energy, to create from power versus force, there are three beliefs that we have to hold onto, to cultivate, to turn the volume up on. Because when we turn the volume up on these three beliefs, then it doesn't matter that we just want to grow. We see the value of growth. It's not that we have to justify it because there's something broken and I need to fix it. We can step into growth because we honor the growth, we honor what is unfolding. We trust that there is a story unfolding that is important to me and important to God. So, the first belief that we can turn the volume up on in order to uh, show up to your dreams, your goals, your desires is, my desire is a good desire. I have a lot of clients who that is a very difficult belief to get to, that what I want is okay, that it's okay for me to just want what I want. There is a feeling that we have to sacrifice, or that we have to put our desires aside for the better good. And while there are times when that is the case, for the most part, most desires, if you are a good person who is doing good things in the world, who is connected to God, to a higher power, to a moral compass that's saying, yes, I want to do good things in the world, 9 times out of 10, your desires are good. They're attached to that. Does this desire inspire goodness? Does it inspire goodness in yourself and others? Is it something that feels natural, that feels connected to your spiritual gifts? If that's the case, you can trust that your desire is good. And oftentimes, we don't connect that desire with our spiritual gifts because it feels so normal and natural. It feels like something I should just it just feels good to me. So because it feels good, it shouldn't be my desire. I remember one of my clients was training for a marathon, and she felt conflicted. Like, should I be putting this time into training for a marathon? I really want to. I really feel like this is a goal, a desire that I want, that feels important to me. And is it okay for me to be doing this right now? Is it something that's going to be taking away from time with my family? And as she got clear, as she settled into her desire, what she was able to recognize was that this desire not only inspired her, helped her to show up more fulfilled, more centered, more connected to herself and to God, and that when she was fulfilling this desire, she actually showed up more present with her children. The other thing that it did was it allowed her to have time to contemplate, to think about her children. And it was time with God to really connect and feel that God was guiding her decisions in her parenting. She felt more aligned with God as she took the time to connect with Him through running. That was her way of accessing not only spiritual power and connection with God, but her own personal power. She felt more powerful and confident. And because of that, she showed up more powerfully and confident with her children and as a mom. She was able to be a better mom because she took the time. Now, she also wanted to make sure that it didn't interfere with her time as a mom. And so she made sure that she arranged her time to fit into the space that didn't feel like it was in conflict with her family, that it got to be both, that she could show up to her desires and show up to her desire to be a mom and a present mom and to be fully available for her children. That's the difference between power and force. Force means it's either or. Either I have to choose, either I'm a good mom or I'm fulfilling my goals. Power is, how can I see this differently so that both are available, so that I can show up in both ways that feel important to me as a present and connected mom and as someone who is fulfilling my goals and dreams. So you can trust your desires, and they are often connected to your spiritual gifts. It often feels good to accomplish your desires, and that's okay. That's actually how it's meant to be. So number 2, when I grow, everyone benefits. So for years in my coaching business, I hired multiple business coaches and um, felt justified and okay about paying for coaching when it benefited my business. It was that I could see the return on my investment. If I invest in business coaching, then I grow my business and therefore it's justifiable. And I remember the very first time that I realized I wanted a coach just for me, that I just wanted to grow, that it didn't need to be attached to an outcome. I just felt compelled to grow personally, um, in my relationship with God, in my relationship in my marriage and with my kids. I wanted to just grow into this divine potential that I felt in my heart. I knew that there was a divine potential that I could access in my heart. I felt it, and I wanted to draw closer to that divine potential. I wanted to be more in alignment with that energy. And so I hired a coach just for that. And it felt frivolous. And it felt like, should I be doing this? Should I be paying the money for this? I don't know. But I trusted that call on my heart. I trusted I'd had enough experience with trusting my own body and trusting my intuition that I knew that if my heart was saying yes, it was a good desire and to follow that. And so I did. And what I experienced blew my mind because in that year, I had the very best year that I ever had in my coaching business. My business expanded, my relationships improved, my time with my husband became more connected and more present. Everything that I wanted actually came about because I put my desire to grow as a priority. Now, I'm not going to say that I put it above everything else. I don't believe that for many of us, our desire to grow doesn't mean that I put my needs above everybody else and my needs come first. And until I get my needs met, I don't have anything to give to others. I don't believe that. I believe what this means is that I put my priorities on my priority list too, that I get to be on my priority list. We are really, really good at prioritizing everybody else's growth. How can I help my spouse grow? How can I help my children grow? How can I help the people that I serve grow? And our desire for growth matters too. And it matters because as I expand my growth container, my self worth container, not only do I have more to pour out on those around me that I love, but I also have more capacity to receive. If my container expands, then there's more that can be poured into me, and I can receive more love, connection, um, and time with my spouse and my children and the people that I love. I can show up with more capacity for my clients. And I also can pour out more love, connection, and belonging on others. The other thing that it does is it increases our confidence. One of the things that my client recognized was that I can allow my story to unfold one sentence at a time. I don't need to know the ending. I can trust the unfolding. That trust, that stepping into the unknown, is exactly where confidence is built. If I'm sitting down to a blank canvas or I'm sitting down to a, a an idea of a story without knowing fully how it's going to unfold, I have to have confidence in myself and my ability to create. I have to have confidence in my ability to co create with God, to connect with God, and to feel that power moving through me in the creation process. My confidence increases as I step into the dark and allow that to move me forward. So, what happens? What happens when we create from this energy, this aligned energy? Just like me, my client who showed up just because she wanted growth found that all areas of her life started to improve. She started to feel connection in places she hadn't anticipated. She found that she was more open to others' ideas and thoughts. She found that she was more present at work. She found that she was more connected and loving in her marriage. There were things that opened up for her that she never anticipated. There were parts that just wanted to be expressed in the growth process. So, number three, the third belief is that we can create in a new way, that there is a divine feminine power versus force. We can create from power versus force. So, I want you to think about this first of all. What is a goal that you have for yourself. I want you to think about any goal. It can be to lose weight, it can be to exercise more, it can be to grow your business, it can be to sign more clients. Whatever that is, I want you to think about a specific goal that you are working on. And now I want to get to the heart of your true desire. Imagine that you have that goal. Imagine that that goal is accomplished, it's done. What does having that goal accomplished do for you? What do you feel? Do you feel successful, confident? Do you feel sufficient, like finally I did it? Do you feel successful in your relationships to others or to yourself? When you identify that, that is your true desire. One of a workshop that I recently facilitated, the word that came up for many of the participants was free. Like, I feel freedom. When I accomplish my goal, I feel free. And what often happens is that we feel like we have to wait to feel free until the goal is accomplished. And so we try to push our way into the goal, trying to get to that feeling of freedom. And what is actually true is that we have to start from freedom to get to freedom. I call it the energetic path. If I want to start on the path towards freedom, I can't begin at fear. If I start on the path towards freedom, fearing that I'm not going to accomplish my goal, fearing if I need to get this goal accomplished so that I can feel freedom, I can't feel freedom yet until I get there. So it's really important that I get this goal now. That's a fear response. Like, I have to force my way into the goal to create freedom. And that comes from fear, force and fear. So if I want to create freedom, I have to start on the path of freedom. I have to generate the beliefs and the feelings and the thoughts that create that feeling energy. So this is what I do in every single program. I call it Awake to the Truth of Who You Are. That's the first step in my process, Awake, Aware, Align. It's opening, it's understanding who you are, what it feels like, what are the beliefs, what are the thoughts, what are the feelings that you have as you have already created what you want. And then we create a pathway to get there, an energetic pathway. We keep you connected to that aligned feeling. So you awake to the truth of who you are, and then you become aware of what's stopping you, what that second voice, all the noise that gets in the way, all the things that have been there for generations, the trauma, big T or little t trauma that you experienced as a child, the way that you were, the beliefs you developed about the world and yourself, the way that you were taught to look at the world, all of those are the noise that gets in the way of the truth of who we are. So we wake to the truth of who we are, we become aware of what's stopping us, and then we can take action that feels aligned. When you clear out the noise, when you get in touch with the truth, when you tap into that aligned energy in your heart, when you create that energetic map in the direction of what you want, that's aligned energy. That's what feels like flow. That's what feels like ease. That's what feels connected to a force greater than your own. That's how you create from power. That's how you create from aligned energy. So just to end with, your desires matter. They matter to you. They matter to everyone around you. I recently met with a client and she was talking about what she wanted to create for herself, the confidence and the joy that she wanted to create in her life, that she felt like she had a divine potential. But again, like my other client, she wasn't quite sure what that looked like. She just knew that there was something more that she wanted to step into. And it wasn't even very clear to her what that was. But the question that I asked her was, what would, if you were to have that confidence and joy right now, what would that do for your kids? She had actually come to me because she had a child that was struggling and she wanted to help that child. And when we really got down to it, when I asked her, what would your confidence, your joy do for your child? It was breathtaking. She was able to say how her confidence and joy would impact her child, the shift that would happen in their relationship, how she would show up differently in their relationship, what that would show to her child of what was possible, how that would impact her life moving forward as she continued to see her mom showing up to her dreams and goals and desires. So your desires matter in everything that you do. So I invite you to consider awake, aware, align, awake to the truth of who you are, become aware of what's stopping you, and then feel what it feels like to step into that aligned energy. If today resonated with you at all, please share. It's always helpful. It allows this to quietly and gently find the people who are searching for this type of information. So follow, share, subscribe, whatever it is on your podcast platform. If you have any questions or thoughts, please reach out. I read every single email, every response. It means the world to me when you reach out. So thanks all for being here. And as always, there is an aligned heart meditation that accompanies this podcast. And we will be looking at power versus force and creating what you want through aligned energy. And we're going to step into that aligned energy so you can actually take the learning from your head into your body and heart and feel what that feels like for you to be connected to that aligned energy. I hope you'll join me over there. Thanks so much. Bye bye.